Morning, gang. It's Wednesday, the 6th of February 2019. Welcome along to Bracknell and this morning's United Kingdom Talk. Hello. I've still got this voice and this bit of a sore throat. It doesn't hurt to talk or anything like that. It's the swallowing and not eating like now swallowing. So that hurts. And it goes from there down to about there. Oh, there's a little bit of tenderness there. That's a gland up, I think, isn't it? Or there is something up there. I can feel it. And it's up that side and not that side. I nearly rung up the doctor this morning. I thought, oh, no, can't be bothered. I'm one of those people. I've got to be at death's door before I go down to the doctor or anyone else. Are you like that? They often say men are the worst people to do that, don't they? To actually go down the doctor. I remember when I had that burst appendix. That's going back to either 90... The year that the year Diana died. The year Diana died, I had this burst appendix and the pain had gone on for days. And eventually it hadn't burst yet, but eventually I woke up one morning. I had a friend staying in the spare room as well. And I was in this pain. He said, I'll go down the chemist and get something. And he came down. He came back with this, is it Brown's medicine or something like that for upset stomachs? And but I've got you this. And he brought it in. And I and I looked up and I said, I think it's worse than this. And I rung up the doctor and she says, we've got an appointment for tomorrow morning. I said, it's really bad. She said, okay, come in now. The doctor here is pretty good like that. And I walked down to, well, I didn't. My mate took me in the car down to the doctor and he got me straight past the queue, straight into the surgery, pushed down a couple of times to the pain. I can't tell you. He said, right, you're going to hospital. Do you want an ambulance or can someone take you? I said, I've got a bloke outside. He said, okay. Here's a letter, just a minute, typed up a letter. He said, walk straight up to the front of the reception and give them that. Okay, and that's what I did. And took me straight in. A couple of days later, they had my burst appendix out. But I do leave it till the last minute, and you're not supposed to do that. I mean, you could have something really serious, that they need to catch early. For example, I mean, it's not one of the things, but meningitis, for example. If you think you've got meningitis, you need to get in that hospital quick. Otherwise, that's it. One of my family members had that just a few weeks ago, actually. Kelly, her name is. Lovely girl. She's got her own little family. She's on her own, I think. And she ended up in hospital a couple of weeks ago. They didn't know what it was at first. Turns out she had meningitis in the brain. Bacterial or those two different types. I can't remember what type now. And they sorted it out. But for a while, it was a bit touch and go. Funnily enough, she was at a little dinner that we had last week to celebrate the fact, well, it's not really a celebration, is it? But to sort of say goodbye to my niece who's going off to Cyprus for a while. And she was there and to look at her and talk to her, you'd never think there was anything wrong with her. It's funny like that, isn't it? Sometimes people have serious illnesses or stuff like that. And then you see them a couple of weeks after they've come out of hospital or, recover. And even a simple thing like flu, that can kill you. Flu can kill you. And you see people who perhaps a week or so ago you've been talking down the phone and they're sneezing and they're coughing and they look really ill if you go round there. And then you see them a week later and in the pub, propping up the bar, having a drink, perfectly all right. It's just amazing how you can turn around like that. So I nearly rang the doctor this morning, but not quite. I thought I'd give it a bit longer. So when you see me go like this, like that, that's me swallowing and it hurting. But me not wanting to make a thing about it because, of course, we are Mummy's brave little soldiers. We are. We are Mummy's brave little soldiers. That's what we are. I was watching, talking of illnesses and hospitals and things, I was watching this programme. This is why I'm late this morning, to be honest. I was watching this little programme on BBC One Colour this morning about defrauding the NHS. And this actually goes on. People defraud the NHS out of millions of pounds. There were two stories that I was watching this morning. One was this bloke who was, I think, in charge of something to do with the hospital. But when he wanted stuff done, he would get a quote and then give the job to another company that he had a kickback from, if you see what I mean. And there was one particular thing. This particular hospital was due to be sold, but it had to be refurbished first for whatever reason. I don't understand how that is. And they needed some electrical work done. And I think the name of the company was Southern Electric. He got a quote from them for like £30,000 or something like that. And then gave the job to his own sort of company that I don't know whether he'd set up or it was a friend of his or something like that. He gave the job to another company at the cost of £350,000. Remember, the quote from the electric people was only 30 grand. £350,000. And then it was discovered when they did the work, all they did was lay an empty pipe that didn't go anywhere. So you can see it would look to you and me like, we don't know how building work goes. We're not builders. But you would go there and see like lorries and little digging things, I suppose, and what have you, doing some work. We wouldn't know what they were doing. All they did was lay an empty pipe that didn't actually go anywhere. Thank you very much. £350,000. That's not bad, is it? Absolutely shocking. And there was another bloke who was a locksmith. He was a locksmith at Guy's Hospital, and he used to let himself in and nick stuff. Terrible. How anyone can defraud the NHS is absolutely beyond me, knowing the trouble that they are in. And when you think about it, it must go on an awful lot. It really must. People say, it's all very well, I mean, I don't know about stealing the odd bandage or the odd plaster. I don't know why they bother going on at those people. When there are people like that, and of course they have to get in people to discover the fraud and all that, and to work, clever people, I suppose, police departments or whatever, and they discover these people. Absolutely, I was fuming watching this programme, absolutely fuming, but there we are. That's what goes on the telly. Let's say good morning to some of you this morning. Hello to Kevin Webster. Good morning, Kevin. Diane Jebb in the house. Morning, Diane. Adam the plumber. Chris Manzar. Good morning, Chris. You sent me an email, didn't you? Oh, yes, there is an email. Was it? Oh, hang on a minute. No, not Chris Manzar. It was the other Chris, wasn't it? What's happening now is people have got having to say, can you change your names, please, some of you? It wasn't Chris Manzar at all. It was Chris Lotz who sent in an email, which I'll read in a second, all right? Excuse me. Let's have a look. Katie Ann. Morning, Katie Ann Patterson. Gustav. Morning to you. Mr. Ray Reynolds is in the house. Wayne Human. Good morning, Wayne. Welcome. Daniel Broadbent. Morning, Daniel. Hello. One of our karaoke hosts. Another karaoke host. Hello to you, sir. Adrian Richardson. Good morning. Let's see your cake. There was no cake, actually. I didn't get a cake at all. Not from anyone this year. Can't believe it. Bloody well buy me own one next year. I will. From that Petite... Oh, we can't buy... It's Petite Valerie. Is that still open? They do wonderful birthday cakes in there. Absolutely wonderful birthday cakes in Petite Valerie, assuming it's still open, because someone's been nicking the money out of there, haven't they? They're all at it, dear. Everyone's at it. Morning to Mike Pullman. Morning, Mike. Excuse me. Angela Waters, what time is it in the morning? It's 11 minutes past 10 in the morning now. Now, you may notice there is another clock. This is temporary. There is another clock there, and that is because I wanted to show you what my sister bought for me for my birthday. There we are. A clock. She's like, what do you want? I said, well, actually, there's a clock in my bedroom. I like clocks. I love clocks. All different types. I've got a cuckoo clock downstairs, a wall with 3 or 4 clocks on it. I've got one that does bird songs every time it hits the hour. I'm not joking. It starts singing bird songs at the top of each hour during the daytime, and it shuts off at night. Very good. Tweet, tweet, woo, woo. As an owl, incidentally, just in case you were wondering. Stuff like that. That's a seagull. I don't know if it does a seagull or not. I'll bring that up one day. I love clocks. But I've got a clock in my bedroom in the caravan, okay? And it's a click, click, click clock, which isn't that loud, but it seems to be louder than the other ones. Plus, the hour hand keeps losing time. I don't know why that is. Tried a new battery, that didn't fix it. So I asked my sister for a clock, and she said, okay, choose one. So I chose this. And this one, as you notice, has got a sweeping second hand. Okay, it doesn't tick tick, and it is completely silent. Listen. Yeah, completely silent there, and it's radio controlled, so it sets itself. It's nice, isn't it? And it's actually, this is really well made. It's not plastic. This is all aluminium and metal. Very well made clock, that is. So that's what I asked for my sister, and it arrived yesterday. So that's the reason that that's sitting there today. Yes, my sister's clock. Very, very nice indeed. Thank you very much, Sharon Butler. You said, yes, that's correct. That is correct, Angela. Let's have a look. Cool. Sorry, just going to scroll back a little bit here. It's Wednesday night in Melbourne at the moment. Has it cooled down a bit over there? I know you suffered really badly with the heat over in Australia, didn't you? Christopher says, what programme was that? It sounds interesting. Oh, I think it was called Defrauding the NHS. It was on at just after breakfast time this morning. Okay, so have a look at that on the iPlayer. If you probably the best thing to do would be to go to the channel and end the day, and then you'll see it on there. I think it's probably a series. It looks like, because they tend to do short series in the morning, don't they? You'll have about 12 programmes of something. I quite like the three older ladies who go on there. The one who read the news, Angela Rippon, Gloria Hunniford, Julia Somerville, and they do like fraud type people that would be rip off Britain. That's it. I like them. They're really warm and friendly, aren't they? I like that programme. Rip Off Britain. That's on sometimes. And I think there's a council house programme as well that's on sometimes, where people have gone to try and get a council house and they can't get one, or they've got one and they shouldn't have had one because they've told lies and things like that. Those sort of things are on in the morning. But at the moment, it was Defrauding the NHS. It's a good watch, actually, Christopher. You watched that, okay? Angela, how's the crocodile? Angela sent me a crocodile picture the other day of this crocodile that had come into someone's garden in Australia. You think it's a safe place. Not safe at all, dear. You know, you come out of that hotel, you better have some people with you, to chuck at the crocodile so they won't eat you. Absolutely. Adrian, have you been investigated by the NHS, Chris, for bad dress style? What's the verdict? There's nothing wrong with my dress style, matey. Have you look at yourself when you come in the pub in that old blooming T-shirt and jeans? What size are they in? I didn't know they went up to that size, jeans. Marvellous, really. Chris says most big places, government, NHS, pubs, companies, banks, they've all got dodgy people. Yes, Chris, I know. There's a lot of people ripping off all sorts of people all over the world. So there we are. Let's have a look. 30 degrees today, Angela says. That's not bad. Michael, 1 in 100-year floods in Townsville. That crocodile was in Townsville, was it? I can't remember now, Michael. She sent me a picture, and it was a few days ago. I cannot retain all knowledge in my head indefinitely, I'm afraid. My head would explode, it would. Over on YouTube, good morning to Joanna. Paul and Lou are there. Good morning, Paul and Lou. We've got Mike Jr. Good morning, Mike. Hope you had a fabulous birthday yesterday. Yes, I'll tell you all about it in a minute. Morning. Thank you, Mike. Claire, no notification. Has that stopped again this morning? Anyone else get notifications on YouTube? Let me know. Peter Lake, good morning. Sun shining in Woodall Spa. I had a nice birthday yesterday. Thank you very much. When are we doing the night show? The YouTube night show? I never know. I don't have a set time that I do the show, as you well know. That's why you should always have those little notifications set up. Generally, it's about 9:30 in the morning. Today it was 10 o'clock. Now and again, I might throw in a nighttime show, but I don't schedule. Otherwise, it becomes a job. I've got to be there at that time, and I don't really want to do that like a schedule show. So have that notification setting on, okay? Fresh the Kid, a very good morning. Fresh the Kid, I like that name. Fresh the Kid. Angela says, yes, it was indeed in Townsville, but they won't eat English people, apparently, these things. Good morning to Maureen joining us this morning. Hello, Maureen. Maureen bought me a little orchid. Can you see that? Actually, that's Maureen's as well. Look how long that one's lasted, Maureen. It must like it where it is there in that position. It likes it. And Maureen bought me that orchid there for my birthday, and Ray Reynolds bought me the blue one at the back. So nice, nice gifts. Yesterday, of course, as I say, my birthday yesterday, and I had a surprise afternoon tea. So after I finished the show, my mate came round and picked me up, and we're driving along. He said, have you any idea where we're going? I said, not really, no. So we ended up in Knightsbridge, and I said to him, is it the Mandarin Oriental? Because we'd been there before. And he said, might be, and it was. And it was. So we went to the Mandarin Oriental Hotel yesterday for afternoon tea. Now, last year, you may have seen in the news, they had a terrible fire there last year, and we were talking to the waiters about the fire, and they said the fire wasn't actually in the hotel. Now, I didn't know this. It was outside at the back. He said most people we talked to think we had a fire in the hotel, and they didn't. They had it out the back in some sort of storage area. And they said most of the damage, and you often hear this, was caused by the smoke from the fire and the fire brigade with all their water. And you do hear this quite a lot. You get a little fire brigade come, all they're interested in is putting the fire out, and rightly so as well. Unfortunately, the damage that water can do to your property could sometimes be just as bad as the fire, but at least it stops it spreading to other parts. And the particular area where they had the fire was where all the air conditioning units and a lot of the cabling and the wiring and the electrics all came into this area. So once you've destroyed that lot, well, it's not much, you can't do a lot else. And the entire hotel was actually closed for months, which, I mean, it's very, very expensive to stay there. But they must have lost an absolute fortune in that time through people not able to fulfill people's bookings or afternoon teas or anything. The entire place was just closed. So yeah, they must have lost an awful lot of money. But going in there, you wouldn't know there had been a fire. I mean, honestly, there's no smell, not even a slight smell of smoke or anything. And it's such a beautiful place. If there was any of the places that I've been to afternoon tea that I would recommend more than anywhere else, it would probably be either that one or Coworth Park, which is just down the road in Ascot. Which we've been to I think 4 or 5 times we've been to that one now. It's only the second time that we went to the Mandarin Oriental. Had a lovely afternoon tea. It's very, very, very... I mean, you don't want to get up. You don't want to get up. Now, these are not cheap things to do, as I've said. Well, you can do it cheap if you want to. You can get an afternoon tea for like 15 quid in some places, okay? Don't think you're going to be paying that in the Mandarin Oriental. But although I didn't know the exact price because my mate paid for this one, as it was my birthday. And we were booked for 1 o'clock. You are not rushed at all. You know, no one comes up, oh, are you going to be much longer or anything like that? And they have time for you. How many times have you been in a restaurant and you're waiting and you're sitting and then eventually someone comes up and says, can I take you? And then you might say to them, oh, we've been sitting here and, oh, we're short-staffed. What do you want? You are so well looked after. Absolutely. You are waited on hand and foot. That's what you're paying for. You are paying for fuss. And I love it. I love it. Fuss, 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 fuss. All the staff are, without question, are friendly and accommodating and bend over backwards to get whatever you want in there. Yes, of course you pay for it. That's what you're paying for. Once you paid your money, that's it. Or, well, you pay it at the end. It's so worth every single penny going in there. It's beautiful. And yesterday, I didn't load the pictures onto the computer. If you want to, you can have a look at my Facebook page. I've uploaded the pictures there. They'll be probably just below this particular post, or maybe one below that. Facebook.com/Chris Reardon UK is where you'll find the pictures of the Mandarin Oriental, okay? And they did this display because it was the Chinese New Year, Year of the Pig yesterday. Yeah. Year of the Pig yesterday, and they'd done this display of little Chinese lanterns, and you know, I think they were peace lilies, but red peace lilies. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And you don't see dust or anything in that place. It is so beautiful. And I look like, and I probably think I'm stupid, I'm sitting there looking at the lights, you know, and they got lots of little lights. And I said to my mate, I said, look, you know, not a single bulb gone. Someone must come in there every day and check that every single bulb is working. There are plenty of staff in there. We weren't served by one waiter. There was, I think, there were about 4 of us who now and again came over. Three, was there 3 or 4? No, there were 3 waiters that came over. One bought cakes, one bought sandwiches, another one come and chatted to us and all that. And they've got time to talk as well. You know, when you're talking to these waiters in places like that, you don't feel that they're trying to get off. You know, not like when you're sitting with me in the car and I'm talking and I can see the person with their hand on the door trying to get out before I finish and I just bring something out. No, they have got the time to talk to you. And they do. They talk and they listen. And then there's another bloke who's obviously higher up. Actually, there was 2 other people we noticed. They got different type of suits on. And they're in and out. They come in. They have a look around like that. And if you look at them, they smile and they nod like that. They look around and then they go out again, making sure that everything's running perfectly smoothly. Honestly, I cannot credit the staff in there enough. From the moment you get to the door, good morning, sir, welcome to the Mandarin. A bloke opens the door like that. You go in, there's another bloke on the right-hand side. Good morning, sir. And you go up the stairs, there's another one there. Good morning, sirs. And then there's a lady there. Good afternoon. Are you here for the afternoon tea? Yes. Just come this way, please, sir. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The food is to die for. Little sandwiches, but they don't come as sandwiches in that one. They're like rolled up. So they cut the bits of bread like that and they put the fillings inside. I had the vegetarian selection. Then they rolled them up and placed them like that on the plate. And then as you're getting to the end of the sandwiches, another load arrive. They watch. You don't have to, they know that you want something. And they just come over with the plate. There you go, sir. And then when you get to the end of the second lot, they come, would you like any more sandwiches? Oh, no, I bet not, actually. Now, we've often made that mistake of having another lot of sandwiches, you see. Although we did have 2 lots yesterday. Another lot of sandwiches, and then the cakes come. You can't eat all the cakes, so we've learnt that. And then the cakes come, beautiful little cakes, all different colours and things. My mate had one that was like a pig. I didn't get that one because I think it had gelatine in it, which is an animal product. My favourite one, I think it was some sort of orange or mandarin, like a thing with all on the top there. Beautiful. Little chocolate things. And a little happy birthday cake came over with a candle on it. I said, please don't sing whatever you're doing. Two older ladies who were sitting, they were looking over. They started singing. I've never been so embarrassed in all my life. So a really, really lovely afternoon. Please, if you come to London, if you're coming on holiday in London, that's at least half a day. That's a half a day out. That's half a day out to have afternoon tea at the Mandarin Oriental. We've been to so many different places like that. Some were not so good at others. We went to Harrods, was very good. Harrods was nice. Although the room in Harrods, I will say the room is a little bit plain. There's not a lot in there to look at while you're sitting there eating. We went, I think, the Strand Palace Hotel. The food was okay there, but it was a bit. It didn't appear to be that. I don't want to say that in case I got the name. I'm sure it was the Strand Palace Hotel. That one didn't have any windows, and it looked like it needed a bloody good paint. Do you know what I mean? So I wasn't that keen on that one, but the food was okay. The worst one out of all of them was Selfridges. Surprising, isn't it? Now, the Selfridges, where the table was, that was perfectly all right. Near a window, beautiful light coming in, and you could see everything downstairs. But the service was 3 out of 10. We certainly weren't fussed over. It was just basically plonked down in front of us, and that was it. And we had to keep asking for stuff. Excuse me. Okay, I'll be with you in a minute. Too busy. Too busy, you see. Not enough staff. That's the trouble. Whereas the Mandarin or don't even have to ask. It just comes. They're watching you all the time. Not obviously. You wouldn't know that they were watching you. They're not like this, staring at you all the time. Hate people who stare, don't you? They're not staring. They just know. Highly, highly recommended, though, that one. Okay. And then after that, you can go walk down Knightsbridge and have a look in some of the shops down there. Expensive shops, admittedly, yes. We went into Harrods because I wanted to buy some of their English breakfast, number 14 breakfast tea. I bought a kilo of that, 2 great big packets of that, because that's my favourite tea, Harrods number 14 English breakfast tea. And we had a little walk around in there. We wanted to use the toilets, so we went downstairs and we had to go through the watch area. And there's some seriously priced watches down there. I thought it said £39.99. No, £399,000 for a watch. And in the hallway, this is in the basement floor, they've got like a massive watch that's like on a thing, and we got talking to... I think it might... I don't know if... No, it was a watch. It wasn't a security bloke. It was a watch person. There were 2 of them standing outside the shops that were downstairs. And we got talking to him, and he was ever so friendly. And he was telling us, it's very, very hard nowadays to find young people to go into that sort of trade. He was saying they all want to do electronics and web designers. This is what all the young people want to do. He said, literally, we have to go into schools. This is Harrods. They have to go into schools, find someone who really wants to do it, and literally lay out the red carpet and wait for them to come through the schools and do all that stuff and then come into Harrods. They literally have to lay out the red carpet for them. They can't get the staff. They spent a year finding a member of staff to work downstairs at the house. Now, you wouldn't think that, would you? People just don't want to do it. They're not interested. And these 2 blokes we were talking to, they knew everything there was to know about watches. They were telling us how small the parts are inside. And the big model, well, it was a model. It was a working thing, although the hands weren't moving around. You can actually buy that great big thing that they had standing there. And I said, well, who would want to buy one of those? He said, large companies, large organisations that have got big buildings, say in the centre of London, 20 floors, and they would have that, on the end as a centrepiece. Cost an awful lot of money, but they would have the money to do that sort of thing. And then you go around the back of this giant watch and you can see all the cogs and all the little screws and, of course, a much larger scale and everything in there and things moving like that. It's fantastic down there. I mean, I couldn't afford a single watch down there, but it didn't matter. The bloke was so happy to choose. But they can't get staff. They said they got to wait for them to come all the way. Find them when they're in school and then literally send them on courses, and then at the end of the day, they roll out the red carpet and try and get them into Harrods. They've waited all that time to get a member of staff in. Amazing, really, isn't it, how that all works? Really is. And then we went and had a look around the food hall. There's some... the food in the Harrods food hall is something to be seen. And I've got to be honest, we went to the cake section, where they had like birthday cakes and things like that. And the price of, for example, a large cake we saw there was about £70 or £80, which sounds expensive if you compare it to something like Tesco's, where you go in and buy a birthday cake for 10 quid, or Aldi, you can go and buy a birthday cake for £4, okay? But when you see this cake, and then I remembered the ones in Petite Valerie, which you can order online, they are similar prices. They're not that much dearer, if not the same price, to be honest. So beautiful cakes in there, the sandwiches, the flowers, and the little chocolates. Oh, Although I have to say, after afternoon tea, I did not fancy chocolate at all. I was stuffed, mate. Absolutely stuffed. So that was Harrods, and we bought our tea in there. There's two lovely ladies that work in there. We got served by this young lad, about 32, and he's got a moustache like that. You remember Terry Thomas, the film bloke, Terry Thomas? He had a moustache like that, didn't he? Do you remember that? Okay. And oh, something got stuck there. 1 minute. I think something's got stuck there. Why's my little picture got stuck? Is this working all right? I'm sure it has. He had a little moustache like that. And I said, oh, I like your moustache. He said, yeah. I said, how long does that take? He said, only about 10 minutes every morning. Spends 10 minutes doing that business every morning. He works in the tea section. And he was quite pleasant enough. And then we saw the two older ladies that served us last time. I said, oh, how are you two? And they recognised us straight away. We must be memorable people. Memorable, either that or they're secret viewers, one of the two. And we were asking how they were, and they're keeping well. And they look very happy in there. You walk around Harrods talking to the staff, they all look sort of quite happy working there. I presume they're well looked after. And that was our day. An absolutely lovely day. Outside of Harrods, there was like a couple of people playing instruments like buskers. There was one bloke, I can't remember what they called now, ethnic drums. I call them ethnic drums. They're like old oil drums. That's it, oil drums. Wonderful. There's a bloke doing that. And there was someone else with a harp out there, bloke with a harp. Beautiful. And what was the lady playing? Was she playing a clarinet? It might have been a clarinet and a harp. They were right outside Harrods doing all that business there. So very nice. And we got back here about 5:30 in the afternoon. I had a little sleep. Then I got up. And I was going over to my mate's house where we had pizza. He ordered a pizza in, so I had a pizza and a little stroke of it. He's got 4 cats, you see, one of which has had a major operation. And for some reason, the cat that had been ill, he kept following me around yesterday, bless his heart. He's a thin thing at the moment, and he's recovering slowly. Really a major, major operation he's had, that cat there. So watched a little bit of telly over there. As usual, I can't hear my mate's telly. He just won't turn the bloody thing up. So I rarely go round there anymore because I can't hear the telly. I said, can you turn it up? And he's like, is that better? Well, no, have you turned it up like 2 Mark? I've got to be honest, the telly down here, see, we've got sound bars. Now, and we both the same sound bars. I think they're Panasonic ones. I can't remember now. We've got exactly the same models. And the sound goes up and down on its own. I kid you not. My nephew, Gary, has got a sound bar as well. He's got a different model, and it does the same thing. The sound seems to go up and down on its own. And half the time you can't hear it. And you turn it up, and then suddenly this really loud music comes on. They are so annoying. But without the soundbar, you've got no bass, because the speakers on the new flat screen TVs are genuinely absolutely useless. Absolutely useless. So you have to have these things. But I did, when we were in Selfridges last year, we went downstairs to the audio section, and there was this, I think it was a Bose system. And my God, it was good. And there's a button on it to bring out the vocals a bit. But it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap, I've got to say. However, I could hear it. But downstairs, here in my house, I have that soundbar up 21. They've got it on like 9. I said, can you turn it up a bit? And he go, yeah, 10. Oh, a little bit, 11. No, whack the bloody thing up. I can't hear it. And I find myself really straining. And I've told him so many times, please turn the telly up. And I can't hear the damn thing. Can't hear the telly. So I rarely go around there anymore. Because there's nothing worse than not being able to hear, is there? There's nothing wrong with my ears. There really isn't. And if someone talks to me at the same time as I'm trying to listen to something else, that I have a problem with as well. Sometimes people at the pub, you know, they come up, you know, we're like halfway through the night and they come in front of you. I have a speaker directly behind you and they're trying to have a conversation and I can't hear you. They must think I'm rude, I suppose. That when I keep saying, I can't hear you. Speak up. Some people, you ask them to do that and they don't speak up. They just repeat it. Can't hear a damn thing what you're saying, mate. Sorry. And often people come up and try and talk to me at the front of the stage. And honestly, I can't hear a damn word they're saying because of the speaker behind me. But I can hear that. I've had my ears tested. They're perfectly all right, believe it or not. Funny, isn't it, really? Okay, so that was that. Came back here. Then I watched some Donna Summer on the telly. I found a version of Last Dance. You know Donna Summer, Last Dance? Last Dance, Last Chance for Love. Yes, it's that one. Yeah? And it's Donna Summer, Proms in the Park. Look it up on YouTube. That is something else. Really, really good. So watch that, and then I went to bed. And here I am this morning, chatting away to you. All right? Okay. Let's go back to some of your messages there. One moment, please. Bum, 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 bum. How far did we get down? Adrian, you must try the hotel opposite the BBC, the Lansbury. Afternoon tea, very beautiful. Black vanilla tea. Outstanding. I've never had black vanilla tea. Not had that before. My favourites here. I had First Flush and English breakfast tea yesterday. All right. Katie, Year of the Pig. Peace and prosperity. We love pigs. You shouldn't be eating pigs, dear. No more eating pigs. We all must become vegetarian, yes. Morning to Nathinda. Morning to Nathinda. Adrian said the Strand Palace Hotel has lots of prostitutes waiting in the entranceway lounge for their clients. Should be careful going. They might think you're looking for trade. What, looking like me? I think it's a bit obvious, don't you, Adrian? Good morning to Pete Branch, who's in Sao Paulo, in Brazil. Morning, Pete. All right, Joey Millen is in the house. Katie, our funeral director, has a mo like that. Boo. Pete, when my friends visit, I turn the TV off. They're here to see me, not watch the damn TV. Yeah, good point there. Good point there. Do you think your hearing is affected from working in pubs and clubs with the DJs? Always have the music turned up far too high and bass and treble? Possibly. Possibly. But there's nothing worse than being around someone's house and not being able to hear the damn television. Turn the telly up. That is the main reason I won't go up there anymore, because they put the telly on and you can't hear the telly. You can't hear it. Hello to Matthew O'Toole. Grand Theft Auto. Now that's a game, isn't it? A computer game. I must admit, Matthew, I'm not a fan of computer games, to be honest. I stopped playing computer games when we got to Pac-Man, to be honest. I bought a Wii a number of years ago, and loads of games. I used it 3 times. That was it. Went back in the box. Couldn't be bothered. Just couldn't be bothered with it. Over on YouTube. Where are we now? Ooh, yeah. Let's see. I can't see how far back we're going there. John, good morning. Has he mentioned the latest ref nuns and... No, don't know what that is, John. Good morning to Ham. Ham thinks I'm mad. That is correct. I am quite mad, Ham. All right. Let's... What's going on there? You go deaf with your age. You're 56 now. No, I don't think I've got a problem with hearing. I mean, let me listen here. Listen. Can you hear that clock? I can hear that clock ticking. Can you hear that? What can be wrong with my ears? Nothing at all. But nevertheless, you know, if someone's a bit deaf, turn the bloody telly up. Oh, it's so annoying trying to watch a telly with no sound on there. Good. So that was my day yesterday, and a wonderful day it was too. And I'm much appreciative to my mate for taking me out like that. Right, let's do some little news stories today. Now, this has popped up quite a few times on Facebook, and it's a story about Mary Poppins, which you may or may not have seen somewhere hanging around on the internet. Here it is. The internet and social media have really changed the way that many of us communicate and interact with each other. Sometimes it's for the good, but other times we find that we are doing nothing more than being judgmental and using social media as a platform to voice our opinions loud and clear. This has even followed through into some classic films, as we have recently seen. Now, Mary Poppins is under attack for an iconic scene filmed on the rooftops. This is on a website called innerstrengthzone.com. I have seen it in some of the papers as well. Julie Andrews starred in the 1964 film, that's a year after I was born, and that has been played for children for generations. The scene is very well known because Andrews goes up on the rooftop to meet Dick Van Dyke and other chimney sweeps. They are about to perform the song Step in Time. As Andrews was on her way to the rooftop, she went through a chimney with the children, Michael and Jane Banks. When she popped out on top of the rooftop, they were covered in soot, which is quite realistic considering they just came out of a chimney. This is where it gets interesting. Professor Pollock Pelsner posted an article in the New York Times in which he criticised the scene. He writes, "One of the more indelible images from the 1964 film is of Mary Poppins blacking up." He continues, "Her face gets covered with soot, but instead of wiping it off, she gamely powders her nose and cheeks and gets even blacker." The film is linked with a quote from the 1943 novel Mary Poppins Opens the Door. The housemaid in the novel screams, "Don't touch me, you black heathen," to a chimney sweep. In the 1964 film, replays this racial panic in farcical key, when the dark figures of the chimney sweeps step in time on a roof. A naval buffoon, Admiral Boom, shouts, "We're being attacked by Hottentots," and orders his cannons to be fired at the cheeky devils. We're in on the joke, such as it is. These aren't really black Africans. They're grinning white dancers in blackface. It's a parody of Black Menace. It's even posted on a white nationalist website as evidence of the film's racial hierarchy. And so it goes on and on. Now, before I read that to you, or if you've seen that on the Facebook posts or in any other newspapers or anything like that, have you, at any point in your life, connected chimney sweeps with black people? Have you? No, I didn't think so. It just amazes me these days how time and time again people see something that isn't there. If you go up a chimney, you are going to have a black face, black hands, dirty clothes when you come out. How is it that these ridiculous stories keep coming up? There is no way I would have connected one race with chimney sweeps of all things. And this world gets more and more ridiculous by the day. It really does. What also gets me is the fact that these papers pick up these stories and bother to print them in the first place. Are they that desperate for news? I mean, some of the stuff that's been coming out recently is just ridiculous. We've had the story of the woman who wants to marry her duvet. What the hell's all that about? But it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And how someone can pull something up like that is just beyond me. It really is. Chimney sweeps look black when they come out of chimney tops. That's it. Nothing to do with black people whatsoever. What a load of rubbish. Absolute load of rubbish. Adrian says perhaps... he's on the subject of these speakers. Perhaps a much better TV that will help my TV is All Wonderful with their sound, especially my new one. It's only 43 inches in my bedroom. Still trying to find one for the bathroom. Paul and Lou are fed up with all this rubbish. It's just absolute crap, Paul and Lou. Every day there's another story in there that is just beyond ridiculousness. It really is. And there's certain people on the Facebook all the time, and you see them pull out. They must spend their entire lives looking at stuff to moan about. Whereas there's nothing that they look for connections all the time. I don't get it. Always looking for a connection to something bad. Ridiculous. JP, there you go. From the Mail. Pope Francis has admitted that clerics what's that to do with that? Have sexually abused nuns, and you're getting very serious there, John. And in one case, they were kept as sex slaves. He said that in case his predecessor, and it stops. Ooh, okay. Angela says, I'm not racist, I own a coloured TV. Oh no, they don't like to be called coloured people, dear. Black. You'll find that. People like to be called black, not coloured. Not coloured. Katie says they were all white, I thought. What, the chimney sweeps? Don't know. I wasn't there at the time, to be honest. I suppose they were all sorts of colours doing chimney sweeps. And of course, in this country then, there were mainly only white people. So I would presume that most of them would have been white people doing chimney and all that business. Very, very strange and mysterious. That's what it is. People looking for problems all the time. They really are. YouTube. Here we go. Tom Lung, director of a project management at YouTube, has revealed that the platform is considering its options to combat dislike mobs. Now, we've got a couple of those on YouTube. There's someone who always clicks the dislike button underneath my shows. I don't know why they do it. Nothing else to do, maybe, but that's just how it is. He said, this is where a group of people will go to a video, not even watch it, and purposely click the thumbs down. One of YouTube's ideas is to make likes and dislikes invisible on videos by default. Well, that would be a good... It's not you, Paul and Lou, is it? Disliking... Disliking the videos there. One of the YouTube's ideas is to make likes and dislikes invisible by default. I think that's an excellent idea. He said, this is an interesting one because on one hand, you could say if the show's ratings, and people are worried about ratings, aren't they, all the time? If I show the ratings and there's a lot of people who like the videos, that's a signal to viewers that this is a really cool video. So I get that. In some ways, not showing it may not be what the creator wants. Another option is asking viewers to provide information on why they disliked a video, that's fair enough, actually, why they disliked a video. So you could put that, why do you dislike that visible? Because the bloke talks crap. I mean, I'd get that comment all the time, wouldn't I? The bloke talks crap all the time. Good morning to Miss Gregorian. Good morning to Mr. Gregorian this morning. All right. He said, however, he added that this option would be difficult to build and implement. Finally, YouTube is considering removing the dislike button entirely. Well, we don't have one on Facebook, do we? There's no, dislike button on Facebook. I suppose you could put an angry face or a sad face or something like that if you dislike something on there, wouldn't you? Hey, something like that. So there's just a couple of stories this morning. Final story on the show today. Yeah, Paul and Lou, you're right about connections. Sky News headline today, 2 arrests after teen stabbed to death near Prince George's School in Battersea. Why mention Prince George? Bad journalism. Yeah, probably nothing to do with the school. Nothing to do with the fact that Prince George, that's what happens, I'm afraid, in London now. People get stabbed. I think generally, if you're like a normal person, just going about your daily business, you're probably fairly safe. It generally is like drug gangs and people like that, isn't it? That go around stabbing and shooting each other all the time because you're on my turf, because I mean, I have to be very careful around here, Other YouTube hosts around here are very jealous of me. They're jealous of the millions of people that watch this show every day. That's what it is. I'm so careful when I go out the house. It's if you're on their patch, And I'm probably on someone's YouTube patch sitting here doing this show, aren't I? Be very careful. Gustav, it was me hitting the dislike button. It's not you, because you don't watch me on YouTube. So I know that's a lie. A terrible lie, Gustav. You will end up in hell, dear. He says it was me hitting the dislike button, but it was because of the jackets and the fact that when you lean too far forward, your eyes become too close together. Really? Last story on the show today. It's in the Daily Mirror. This is about a wrestler, female wrestler, Shotzi Blackheart. She's come up with a rather bizarre way of making extra money. It's fair to say that some people will do just about anything to make a little bit of extra cash. Now, it reminds me of a T-shirt that my nephew wears. I'm not gay, but £20 is £20. Seriously, he wears that T-shirt. But one woman has taken things to a whole new level with her unusual money-making scheme. Former WWE rookie and alternative model Shotzi Blackheart, real name Ashley Urbanski, has been offering her devoted fans on social media the chance to purchase photos of her poo. And it seems they are more than happy to oblige her. Shotzi, who is known for her time on competing on WWE's Tough Enough, has been charging people $5 for a photo showing the contents of her toilet, which works out to about £4. The Californian wrestler, who is now working with Shimmer, Women's Athletes and Rise Wrestling, shared proof on Twitter that people had been buying the bizarre pics. A screenshot showed one mystery purchaser making a $5 transaction, asking for your information. I'm doing this to support you, not because I'm some weirdo. Yeah, right, okay, mate. If you say so, we all believe you. Unfazed, Shotzi simply replied, "Whatever, bud, no judgment here. Welcome to the toilet elite." So that's the way that she makes a little bit of extra money there. Thank you, Angela. Good point. So I've been thinking about this, and I've taken some photos. And for just £20, you'll have to find them first. All right. Paul and Lou, I only dislike you when you mention Birmingham. A lot of people hate it when I mention Birmingham. They just hate Birmingham. It's not the fact that I'm mentioning it. All right, here comes today's birthdays, boys and girls. Happy birthday, 49 years old, to John Doherty this morning. Good morning, John. Happy birthday to you on this Wednesday. I keep thinking it's Tuesday for some reason. Wednesday, the 6th of February, 2019. Linda Baker is today 64 years old. Mike Batts, who's a music writer, he's very, very famous. He's 69 today. Happy birthday to you, Mike. Roger Taylor Brown is 66 years old today. Titiana Rosso Garcia, what a beautiful name, 37 years old today. Russell Northey, happy birthday to you, sir. James Lunn's birthday today. And Paul Houston as well. Is that Paul from... oh, yeah, I know Paul. Hello, we never knew you as Paul. What did we call you as? I can't remember what we used to call you. It wasn't Paul, was it? Oh, gosh. What did we used to call you? Can't remember, Paul, but it was nothing bad. It was something nice. So happy birthday to you all, boys and girls. Here comes our little song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, boys and girls. Paul and Lou says £5 for a download or deposit. Paul and lose her own. Pictures of them are just £2.50. And Angela says, just take a photo of your face. What, and sell that for £5? Do you think that'd go for £5, Angela? Little photo of my face? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. That's it today. Thanks so much for joining us, boys and girls. Have a lovely Wednesday, whatever you're doing. I'm off to the church now to just to show the parish secretary and maybe father as well if I can play the organ or not. I've sort of offered my services for Sunday morning at 11 o'clock because the person who's playing it there, they can play it, but they're very slow. It's like a blooming funeral, and I'm trying to go too fast, I am. Anyway, have a nice Wednesday, and hopefully again, I'll see you at the same time tomorrow. Enjoy. Bye-bye now.